Hi folks, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be making some breadsticks. Now if you've not known what a breadstick is, what type of rock have you been under for a long while? They're those sort of things that are about that long and they're rock solid, aren't they? Well, we're not going to go that far because I don't want them rock solid. I prefer what I call edible. The standard ones are nice and they're dry, but they're okay and you can dip them in stuff and eat it. But if you want to make these drier, then you can leave them in the oven longer. And if you like this type of content, please subscribe and please share. And don't forget, your recipe is below the video in the description. And if you don't know where to find the description is, it's down there. And also while you're down there, press the subscribe button. And for your ingredients, you want 280 grams of water, 13 grams of salt. You can do sea salt if you like. 15 grams of fresh yeast, or you can use high active yeast or whatever yeast you want, but obviously follow the instructions on the packet. And once again, we've got olive oil. Now you can use olive oil or you can use rapeseed oil. That's 27 grams. Now for the flour, you want 455 grams of 00. And it's that simple. Now we've got our machine bowl. What you want to do is put your flour into it. Then we add in our salt. And this is the best bit. You got your water. Add in your oil. Add in your yeast and just break it up. If it breaks up that easy. And just get yourself a whisk and whisk it all up. And just get your hand into your flour and the salt and just mix it round so your salt doesn't touch your yeast when it goes in. And for your mixing, first things we need to be doing is mixing this for 1 minute on first speed. Then you want 10 minutes on third speed. That's if you're using a 3-speed machine. And as you know, I'm going to be using my small Kenwood. It rocks and rolls. So what we're going to do now, folks, we're going to get this all onto the machine. So we're going to start mixing this on first speed. And just add in all your wet ingredients. And now stick it onto third speed. And we're going to be mixing that for 10 minutes. Right, we'll just stop it a minute. Just to check the dough. It doesn't want to be too soft. And then it doesn't want to be too tight, and that's just right. Back to third speed. That's our dough mixing. So we're going to leave that now for around about 10 minutes. Dough's nearly ready, but what you need is a bowl to put it in when it comes out, or a plastic bag. Now, essentially to this, you need a bit of spray oil. And on my eBay store, the link is in the description. This is prep spray. And this does everything. It says what it does on the tin. Releasing spray. Yep, that's the one. This can be used for almost anything, even domestic use. Now I use this all the time in the bakery and I can recommend it. Right, so let's get our dough out. All we need to do, bit of prep spray to spray around the outside of the bowl. And that's it. Take it off the hook. And just mold it up in the bowl so it's into a nice little ball. Just making sure the oil is all the way around. A bit more spray won't go amiss. And just put it into your bag. So there it is, folks. It's that simple. Now you can put this straight into the fridge. You can put it into the freezer or whatever you want to do. Now I'm actually going to go and put this in the fridge because I actually want it to slow down a bit, because this temperature on here now, I feel as though that's almost coming up to 25 Celsius, just that dough. So I'm putting it in the fridge to cool it down. So there's your dough. This is what I done earlier. You can see it's actually well proofed up now. So all we're going to do is take this straight out the bowl, bit of flour on the table. So with this dough, what we want to do is break it down into 12 individual little pieces. So it's all going to be a bit of a guesstimate, but we will pop it on the scales in a minute. So to get 12, just generally cut that down the middle. There you go, like that. Now these want to be around about 65 grams each. So there we go, 12 pieces, and they are actually 65 grams each. So we'll move that out of the way. So all we're going to be doing is moulding these round first and slightly long, like that. So what we're going to be doing now is rolling these out to around about 6 inches long. Only give or take. So we're just going to let these rest for a few minutes because they are actually very, very cold. So we just want them to recover a bit. And that's all to do with the gluten inside the flour. Now, 00 doesn't have a lot of gluten in it, but it's still got gluten in it. So I'll just leave those a few minutes and then we'll come out and we'll try and get them to the right length. So whilst we're waiting, we'll go and get our tray. Now for me, I'm going to be using a large tray for my large oven. But for you, you'll probably need 2 trays. But I would suggest using the wire with some paper. And this is mine. What you need to do is get yourself a bowl and put some olive oil in it, because once you've rolled them out, you want to wash the top over with olive oil. You can do this at the beginning or you can do them when they're proved up. But I always tend to do mine early in the job and you'll understand why. So that's my olive oil and my brush. Right, we'll try and get these down now. They've rested long enough. So we're around about, you see the length of my tray, you want to be as long as my tray. So it's around about, I think it's 12 inches. And all we're doing is using that part across here and we're pushing it into the table, but keeping it nice. You probably did this years ago with plasticine. And just set them aside. This is where you do need a bit of flair on it. Try and keep them as even as you can. Now it's always a technique is to start in the middle, get the right thickness that you want, and you're on the money. So once you've got the thickness you want, you can roll out then. So we're in the middle and then bring the other hand in. And there we go. Now you've probably noticed some of these have actually sprung back a little bit. They will do, but don't worry about that. We're going to be pre-rolling them before we put them on the tray. So we need our tray. Now, good thing we're using a tray is the fact is your sticks will actually drop down into the holes. Just makes the job right, doesn't it? Bit of a dusting of flour. Not too much. And then we're going to re-roll these out so they fit that length. So the idea now is just to rest these outside a prover. Now you can at this stage cover them over and leave them, but the idea you do want them stretched out. So just grab hold of the stick and just stick it on the end like this. Okay. Don't worry if it don't stick. You're just stretching it a little bit. Now the idea of having them like this on a wire is when we put them in the oven, they're going to have a sort of a roundish bottom. Now at this stage you can wash them over with olive oil. So I'm going to olive oil 6 of them, and the other 6 I'm just going to flour them. And then these I'm just going to put a bit of flour on. Just wipe your hand over them. Now with these 6, a pinch of salt over the top. Best to use sea salt. Now I'm going to be putting them into a prover. Now my prover is a straightforward oven. It's currently on 50 Celsius and it's got a bowl of water in the bottom. I'm now going to turn it off and let these prove up in the temperature which is in. Right, so I'll get this straight into the prover. So there's your breadsticks in the prover. Okay, it's an oven. In the bottom here I've got water. The temperature in there is 50 Celsius at the moment, but it is going to drop because I've turned heat off. That wants to be around about 25 Celsius. So we'll leave them in there for around about 1 hour. 30 minutes in, pop your oven on. Now your oven temperature wants to be 200 Celsius. It's that simple. Our breadsticks are ready. So we'll go and get them out the prover and put them straight into the oven. So there's your breadsticks. Spot on. Now they're going to bake for around about, give or take 15 minutes. Until they're just nice and golden brown, a little bit crispy. Right, we'll get them straight into the oven. Well, now our breadsticks are in the oven. They're going to be baking for around about 15 minutes, give or take. Halfway through, turn them around. So about 7 minutes, just turn them around in the oven. That just makes it better for an even bake. Right, your breadsticks are ready. We'll get them out of the oven. Well, there you go, folks. There's your breadsticks. Nice, simple, easy recipe. And if you like this type of content, please subscribe and please share. And that doesn't take that long to make. And I would recommend always putting your dough in the fridge to cool it down a bit, because sometimes, especially in this warm weather, it will fly. And don't forget, your recipe is in the description down there. Also, while you're down there, press that subscribe button if you haven't already. And we'll see you again very shortly on the Crazy Baker channel. Laters! This is the Crazy Baker channel. Baking. Lifestyle. Recipes. Reviews. I am the Crazy Baker. Please subscribe and please share. Laters!